Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and another month has officially ended, so here's everything I picked up for Blu-ray and 4K in September 2020. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, September is at the end, and I thought I would go over everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for this month. And there was a lot of 4K releases released by the studios, pretty much making up the collection for the month. So a couple Blu-rays, normal Blu-rays, but we're going to talk about those real quick. So one of the first things I picked up was, this one I've been holding off for a long time, just hoping that we're going to get a 4K edition. But I finally saw it for a really, really cheap price. And if it comes out in 4K, no big deal. I can just double dip on this one. That is Jim Carrey's The Mask. Just this one begs for a new edition, honestly, but the Blu-ray is still a good version of the film. And hey, it's The Mask. It's really one of his more iconic roles. Absolutely a fun movie to watch. The surround sound cranked up. It's a great flick, and I keep hoping that they capture this in some sort of sequel or make a new version. I don't know. Like I think the mythology of The Mask is begging to be re-explored again. But yeah, absolutely hoping for a 4K edition of this down the line. Another thing, I've had this on my wish list for a long time, waiting for a really good price, and it finally hit like 12 bucks or something. It was some crazy price. That's the Meet the Parents collection with Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. It has all three movies in this one, even though I'm really more interested in the first two. I think they're the best parts. Third one, not so much, but still a cool series. When I was recovering from surgery in the hospital, Meet the Parents was on TV, and it kind of just made me realize like how much I do enjoy the movie and why I never really owned it. I don't know why. It's just kind of one of those things that slipped through the cracks. But yeah, I waited for a price on this one. Finally got it for like $12. Really good. But definitely check these out. It's good series. First two movies, like I said, are the better ones. But Meet the Parents collection on Blu-ray. And the last Blu-ray version of movies, well, actually, Blu-ray that I picked up this month was Rick and Morty Season 4. I'm a big fan of the show, and I don't normally collect a lot of TV on home media format. I usually just save that for streaming, but I really wanted to have the hard physical copies of Rick and Morty. I have the first 3 seasons, and of course I had to add Season 4. Excellent show, definitely worth checking out. The humor's not for everybody, but I think it works more than it doesn't, and it's good stuff. It really is good stuff, very clever, and definitely worth checking out. One of the new 4K releases this month was from Arrow Video, really starting to embrace the 4K format. They just recently announced Tremors for that. Yeah, Pitch Black, starring Vin Diesel. Just a good, sci-fi action movie. Vin Diesel's great in it. It's a good cast, great monster movie story, and the 4K transfer I feel looks really good. It's a very well done. It's a complicated transfer because of the way it's shot. So there are some more heavy grain moments than not. But I think for the most part the Dolby Vision looks really fine on this, and it's a really good movie to get on 4K. A couple of the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies came out this month. Of course, Sherlock Holmes, once again, Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, definitely worth checking out. Now, as far as an upgrade goes, it's not a great upgrade over the Blu-ray, but it's still, if you've never really owned the Blu-ray versions, it's worth checking out on that format. And of course, Game of Shadows as well came out same day. Not quite as good as the first movie. I feel that the first movie is a little bit better, but Guy Ritchie does a good job with both movies, directing, and these are readily available at your local retailers. This was probably going to make one of my favorites as far as steelbook versions of the movies for 2020, and it's a great movie. I'm so happy it came out 4K. Unfortunately, a little bit of DNR was applied here, but it still looks nice on the format. That is The Goonies. Awesome looking steelbook in my opinion, really cool, and it's a epic movie as far as from the 80s go. It's just well deserved to be on 4K. Looks fantastic for the most part, and it's an iconic movie. What can I say? The Goonies. I'm so happy this came out on the format, and came out the same day, which would be Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. This one looks immaculate on 4K. It's a beautiful transfer. Audio also gets a nice upgrade with Dolby Atmos, and I think the Steelbook looks really cool also. I was a little unsure of it from the pictures, but in person it just really kind of shines and it looks nice. Warner Brothers did a fantastic job with Beetlejuice. The transfer itself is beautiful to look at. It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Another thing I was looking forward to, and I was wishing that they would release these with individual releases, but the Alfred Hitchcock collection, what can I say? Beautiful, beautiful box sets. If you're a Hitchcock fan and you want to see his movies on 4K, Vertigo, Psycho, I think are the two standouts in this set, but Rear Window and The Birds also look wonderful, and a lot of these got new audio mixes and just a good use of HDR. If grain is appropriate, they're beautifully, beautifully mastered, and they look great on 4K. If you're a fan, definitely check out the Alfred Hitchcock collection. And another contender for one of my best steelbooks of 2020, that is the original Ghost in the Shell, the animated version. This thing in person looks great. It actually has a slipcover and it's got a nice shine on the steelbook itself. Beautiful, beautiful steelbook. And also the movie itself in Dolby Vision looks great. Fantastic, just upgrade over the Blu Ray in my opinion. It is beautiful to look at. It's a great story and it still holds up really well. It does, and if I encourage anybody to pick this up, try to go for the Steelbook edition. The slipcover looks nice as well. I got a chance to look at that in person, but I think honestly the Steelbook really stands out. And this next Steelbook edition I picked up in September is kind of special because it kind of takes away, if you're collecting Steelbooks in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you notice that there was one glaring omission there. That was the Universal Pictures released Incredible Hulk, which finally, even after the COVID delays, finally got a release, and here it is. Finally, just making that whole Steelbook collection shine. I might do a separate video of this. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a separate MCU Steelbook collection vid. But yeah, Incredible Hulk, awesome, awesome Steelbook. It pretty much just, I feel it's a very underrated movie in itself. While it does have Edward Norton as the Hulk, I still think it's a really good movie, and I don't understand really not so much the hate, but the indifference to it. I think it's really awesome, and I really hope they pick up some more of those plot lines down the road. There's still a lot kind of to play with here, but with rights being what they are for a solo Hulk movie, it's, I believe, still with Universal Pictures. That may be a little tricky, but they still have picked up, characters like Ross has, been featured in the future MCU movies. But I would love to see the Leader and the Abomination again. But yeah. Good movie, and finally get a Steelbook collection or Steelbook edition for this. So yeah, it makes the MCU collection really kind of nice and uniform now. Also coming out as Steelbook pretty much the same day, if I'm not mistaken, Keanu Reeves in 47 Ronin. This movie I really wasn't a big fan of when I first saw it, but it's grown on me over the course of the last several years. And visually, it's a cool movie. It really is. And Keanu Reeves, pretty much everything from pre and post John Wick is getting a little bit more extra love, and I think 47 Ronin definitely is one of those movies, even though there were some behind the scenes difficulties with this flick, but it's got a nice Steelbook, looks fantastic, and it's definitely worth checking out. Also, DC Animation came out with something this month, and it's kind of like a reboot from the previous DC Animation continuity, if you want to call it that, but Superman Man of Tomorrow has come out on 4K. Looks good. It does. DC Animation only can really take you so far with 4K, but I think it looks nice, and it is a nice uptick over the Blu Ray. There are some noticeable differences, mostly the HDR implementation, but it's a cool movie also. It got a nice little retelling of the origin of Superman, his early years, so I think I like the animation style, and hopefully they'll continue with it down the line. Released by 20th Century Fox, or Disney as you want to call it, or 20th Century. Hopefully we get more 4Ks. There's that whole thing where they're not releasing 4Ks on the format any longer, for catalog stuff at least. But as of right now, Home Alone is here on 4K, and I think it looks beautiful. I think it's got a nice transfer to it. HDR is well implemented, appropriate levels of film grain. The audio mix is okay. It's not any upgraded Dolby Atmos or anything, but it's still a good version of the movie to have on the format. I think 4K really does wonders for it. Also coming out same day from Disney, once again, is Hocus Pocus, and with a steelbook with art by Matt Ferguson. I'm a big fan of the artist, and I'm a fan of the movie. It's not my favorite. It's not a must-go-to for like every Halloween, but it is something that it's still worth checking out, and I would definitely suggest going for the steelbook edition on that one. This next one I was very much looking forward to showing up on 4K. Not so much for the picture upgrade, which it does get even though it is an upscale, but for the Dolby Atmos implementation that I think really elevated the movie to a new level. That is Damien Chazelle's Whiplash, starring J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller, and a nice steelbook here from Best Buy. I dig the movie a lot, and I think that the audio is definitely the star of the show here. It's really a good upgrade. It makes great use of all the speakers, and it's very noticeable over the Blu Ray edition. But yeah, Whiplash, great movie, very intense, and absolutely worth checking out on 4K. This one I picked up from Best Buy. Just kind of one of those I just wanted to add to my collection. I do enjoy it. It's not one of my favorite Ridley Scott films, but Exodus is, you know, it's a good movie. It's got great star power to it. Christian Bale is awesome in his role, and there's a lot of good actors also just really kind of filling up the screen. Good movie. Like I said, not one of my favorite Ridley Scotts, but I did want to add this to the collection. Stanley Kubrick is added again on 4K. This one being Full Metal Jacket, as you can see, Steelbook edition from Best Buy. Just, what can I say? It's an iconic movie. It's good looking on the formats and great audio presentation, and this was my very first Stanley Kubrick movies that I ever watched, like way back when, and it still just kind of stays with me today. It's just one of those movies that's really good. And finally, the last couple movies I picked up for 4K for September 2020, 21 Jump Street, good movie. It's a lot of fun. It's very, it's got a lot of action moments. It's not the best looking picture quality, but the Dolby Atmos really is top notch, and it sounds great, and I think you'll be very happy. And 22 Jump Street, of course, once again, another sequel, not quite as good as the original, even though the ending credit scenes are pretty hilarious. And just a good-looking movie, but also, once again, the Dolby Atmos is fantastic here. So that is everything I picked up for September 2020. Let me know in the comments section below what you picked up yourself. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.